Oftentimes, like when we hear in this setting, like speaking about these things, now we've spoken of some tough topics relating to sexuality. Oftentimes it's kind of in this reactionary, why can't we do this, or X, Y, Z, right? And it's the church saying no about something. What I'm presenting to you today is that there's a reason we're saying no, is because we're saying yes to something better. In Jim Carrey's this movie called Yes Man. He is this negative guy, but he has this kind of like new way of living where he's just going to say yes to everything. So he's just like, somebody asks him, like, any opportunity that comes along, he's going to say yes. You want to go skydiving? He's like, yes! He does it. He like goes into a bar, somebody wants to fight, he's like, yes, let's get into a fight. He ends up like, the homeless man wants to rob him, he's like, yes, rob me, go for it. Like, he has all these great experiences that lead him actually to finding the love of his life. Like, he falls in love with this girl. And it's going amazing until kind of in the end of the movie, there's his ex-wife comes to him and she wants to get back together with him. And he's in the midst of like saying yes to everything, and then his ex-wife comes and he's like, ugh. And he realizes that he can't say yes to her, because saying yes to her would mean saying no to the love of his life. And so he kind of learns to realize that that in order to say yes to the most important things, that involves saying no to other things, right? And what we're doing in this series is teaching you the yes, teaching you what we're saying yes to. A vision of yourselves, of your bodies, of man and woman, that, like Kate said, is radically different than the culture because it's more beautiful. It's more attractive. The church's vision for human sexuality is more attractive than what the culture. It's more beautiful, it's more comprehensive, and it gives greater reverence to who you are and who you're made to be. In Ragnarok, Hulk is happy. Hulk is really happy in that movie. He's got a lot of things going for him. He's kind of like the champion of the planet. Like he's in this, he's got all the food and drink he could possibly want. He's got friends. You know, he's famous. They have like little toy icons of the Hulk, right? And if you ask him, like, part of him seriously believes like that he's happy, that like everything's good. And then later he sees this video recording of this woman, Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow, a woman he was once in love with. And seeing her face on this recording, it pierces his heart. It pierces, like seeing her beauty, it pierces his heart. And it calls out the man that he really is. So he feels this ache, but it's actually transforming, and it actually transforms him into who he really is. And he realizes that he's not completely happy, but that he's longing for more. You ever been pierced in the heart by something beautiful? I don't know if you've been watching the moon lately. Anybody been watching the moon? My gosh, it's been like so beautiful. Like I was like in the parking lot in my apartment complex, and I saw the moon, and it looked like the moon was moving. It wasn't the moon moving. It was like there's the clouds were moving, but it looked like the moon was like going in the sky. I was in the parking lot, and I just like stopped there mystified at the moon, and there was like a car behind me. The lights came on. Yeah, very embarrassing, but gosh, like beauty can do that. You seen something like anybody ever traveled to like the Grand Canyon? Raise your hand if you've been there. Yeah, there's some beautiful sunsets there. Or maybe like you saw something in terms of like something like a movie or television show, or even something like in a relationship with your friends where you see like romantic love, and it's really beautiful, and it like pierces your heart, right? It's so important, this kind of like to get in touch with that, this like ache. I love letting the culture kind of speak for itself and kind of listening for it. Let's show that video. This is a comedian, Louis C.K. He's a really, I really like him a lot. But he's telling about kind of an experience that he had where his heart was pierced by beauty. And he's on the Conan show, so we're gonna skip like just a little bit of segment. He's not like saying anything bad, it's just, I want to show specific parts.
You need to build an ability to just be yourself and not be doing something. That's what the phones are taking away.
Yes.
It's the ability to just sit there, like this. That's being a person, right?
Yes.
No one can, you gotta check. Because, underneath everything in your life, there's that thing, that empty, forever empty. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yes,
I know
like
you're
that
talking about.
knowledge that it's all for nothing and you're alone. It's down there. And sometimes when things clear away, you're not watching it, you're in your car, and you start going, oh no, here it comes, that I'm alone, like it starts to visit on you. Just the sadness.
Yes.
Life is tremendously sad just by, being in it. And so you're driving, and then you go, that's why we text and drive. I look around, pretty much 100% of people driving are texting.
Yes.
And they're killing, everybody's murdering each other with their cars.
Yes.
But people are willing to risk taking a life and ruining their own because they don't want to be alone for a second. Because it's so hard. I was in my car one time, and a Bruce Springsteen song comes on. And it made me really, it's like Jungle, what's the Jungle?
Jungleland.
That's one where he goes, "Ah!" And he sounds far away. And I was like,
That's
because he wrote it first. So, anyway, I started to get that sad feeling, and I was reaching for the phone, and I said, you know what, don't. Just be sad. Just let the sadness stand in the way of it, and let it hit you like a truck. And I let it come, and Bruce, and I just started to feel, oh my God. And I pulled over, and I just cried like a bitch. I cried so much. And it was beautiful. It was like this beautiful, it's just this, sadness is poetic. You're lucky to live sad moments. And then I had happy.
Wow, so much. I love this man. So in touch. You know how in touch he is with his heart? Isn't that amazing? He knows what's going on inside him well enough where he's driving along and he listens to this song and it pierces his heart. Something about the song, the particular beauty of the song, what it meant to him, it pierces his heart. And it brings out this kind of longing, this ache. This kind of sudden realization that I'm alone. And it's not good for the man to be alone. And in that moment, so many times, in a situation like that, I might want to numb that ache, with whatever, even good things, to just not feel that. But he has the courage to just feel his feelings. To enter into that. Right? Enter into that ache. Now he made the comment that kind of in a despairing thing that he just kind of asserted that it's a known fact that he actually is alone. And that life is pointless in that, but we know better, right? We know the truth that God, in Jesus, Emmanuel, God is with us, right? But we don't want to dismiss, gosh, if we would just dismiss what he had to say that would be a huge mistake. He has gotten so far. He's gotten this close, and he can teach us kind of how to arrive at the riches that you already possess in your faith, but maybe haven't even opened them. Maybe haven't even cashed in. He can take us there because he's in touch with our humanity. If you don't know your heart and you haven't felt the ache, he's farther. He's farther than us. He can teach us how to get to that part in our own humanity where we realize we're alone. for something more. It's my invitation for you tonight. Is to get in touch with that ache. Have you been ever driving and hear a song on the radio and you just start crying for no reason? Have you ever been watching a particular scene in the movie and like something just gets you? Go back to those. Whatever those movies are, whatever those songs are, whatever that is, I invite you to go back to that. Maybe sometime this week. Listen to it again and feel the ache and invite the Lord into that. Why does this matter? Well, we talked about in those questions at the beginning that it was hard to answer them. It was hard to answer these questions, right? It's hard to make sense of the story of what it means to be human, of how you are trying to understand your life as a high school student and all these different things that the culture and the world is throwing at you, messages. It's hard to make sense of that. I like the analogy of like, I'm an actor. Do we have any actresses or actors here? Raise your hand if you're theater people. Not a one? Wow. We just have embarrassed theater people, perhaps. Here's my invitation. Like, I gotta invite you to like engage, like with me. Like, I'm willing to be really real, and I reverence like authenticity. But if I don't get that, then I'm gonna be like less real. You know, if I don't get that, like you might be. It's hard, I know, because you have masks, but like, I think you want that. I think you want like me to be real, and so that kind of receptivity, that would be my invitation for you to make a deliberate choice in these series to engage. Right? When I go home from school, mom would ask like, "How's your day?" And then my answer is like, "Fine." Right? Fine. And I thought I wasn't doing anything wrong, right? Like I was answering her question. Actually, looking back, I was making a concrete choice to disengage. My mom was inviting me to engage. I was making a choice to disengage, right? So I'm inviting you now, make a decision, and for the whole series to engage and to actually unmask, right, our heart to where the deepest longings, the deepest fears, right, to get to the point to allow Louis C.K. to get to that point where we really feel this longing for love in our hearts. What happens when you see everybody at school with a boyfriend and you don't have a boyfriend? How does that make you feel sometimes? How does it make you feel when you're in a relationship with a girl and you know she's using you? You know she's using you, and she doesn't really love you. What does that ache for more? Get in touch with this ache. And this will become suddenly much more relevant. Okay, so back to theater people. So there's like, think of like, if trying to understand a human story, think of this as like act 2, right? In plays, there's like multiple acts, but like think of like everything that you have experienced in your life thus far. What if that was only act 2 in your story? Like what if in humanity's story, everything that we know, all of like human history, that's only act 2? What if there was an act 1? What if there was a drama in the beginning that kind of set the stage for act 2? It's kind of like if you ever started like watching a movie halfway through, and you're just like, oh, I kind of know what's going on in this movie, and you maybe like, oh yeah, he likes her, and this, they've got to go get these stones, and but then like you watch the whole movie from the beginning, and you're like, oh, now I understand this. I thought I understood the movie before, now I actually understand the whole picture. It's kind of like this with our story. If you don't understand what happened in the beginning, then you are likely to misinterpret now. Act 2, this is now, Act 2. If you don't know what happened in the beginning, then you are likely to really misunderstand this. Because the truth is that God did not make the world the way it is today. This was not the intention. That in the drama of Act 1, incredible things happened that changed changed the whole world and changed your experience of being a human person. That was different than the way God created you to be as a human person. So it changes everything. So the invitation is to go back to Act 1. Is to go back to the beginning. And get that garden picture up. Let's go back to the Garden of Eden and see what was God's design originally for what it means to be human, right? In making them male and female. What was God's plan, right? And so so here we have like the picture of the Garden of Eden. Take a look at that for a second. Anything of significance missing from this image of the Garden of Eden that you can tell? Go ahead, shout it. Just shout it. I'm not gonna raise hands. Like just shout it out if you see anything. Or is this good? Has this got everything we need in the garden? Eve. Yes, that's pretty significant, right? The woman. Why might the artist have left out and made the gross mistake of leaving out Eve in this picture? Because Eve ate the fruit. I've not heard that one before. Good. Thank you for engaging though. But so actually, in the like, there's two creation accounts, and remember, like in the second one, Adam is created before Eve, right? Like they pull the rib out of the side, and that's how like Eve is created, right? So there's this period of time in the garden where Adam is alone. He's alone. He's with the other animals, the other bodies, but he's alone. He's feeling this ache. God puts an ache in his heart intentionally. God puts an ache in our hearts because he wants to reveal something to us about himself. Right? I remember in high school, I had this group of friends that I went to. I got to go to a lot of great parties, and it was so fun. Like it was good to see so many people, and it was really it was so great. But at the end of the night, like Friday night, you go out of the house or wherever and back into your car. There was this sinking feeling that would always like come over me that I couldn't put into words then, but I could try to articulate now. I get into my car and just it's dark outside, and it's like, does anybody back in that house actually know the real me? Does any of these people who I just hung out with like all night and who are my friends, like if anybody asks me like these are my friends, this like scary thought, it's like, does anybody in there actually know the real me? And if they did know the real me, if they did see me, would they even like what they saw? You ever wanted to be seen? I mean, not just like with somebody like viewing you with their eyeballs, but like kind of like deeply seen. Like seen inside of you, right? Somebody really looking at the fullness of the person that you are. Adam's experiencing this longing. If we can get the second video ready. There's a musical that I just love. It's called Dear Evan Hansen. It's about a high school boy who has really never made a connection with another. He suffers from extreme social anxiety, and so finding friends is really difficult. And so he's alone, and he's very unseen. But then he meets this woman, right? And it kind of changes things for him. So I want you to watch this. And I want you to pay attention as we watch this together. Again, choosing to engage. But see what stirs in your own heart. See if be open to having your heart be pierced by beauty, and pay attention to the feelings that you feel and the thoughts that you have, and we'll unpack that together.
don't have to convince me. You don't have to be scared you're not enough. 'Cause what we've got going is good. I don't need more reminders of all that's been broken. I don't need you to fix what I'd rather forget. Clear the slate and start over. Trying to quiet the noises in your head. We can't compete with all that. So what if it's us? What if it's us and only us? And what came before won't count anymore or matter. Can we try that? What if it's you? And what if it's me? And what if that's all that we needed to be? And the rest of the world falls away. What do you say?
I never thought there'd be someone like you who would want me.
Well,
So I give you 10,000 reasons to not let me go. What if you really see me? If you like me for me and nothing else, that's all that I wanted for longer than you could possibly know. So it can be us, and only us. And what came before won't count anymore, matter. We can try that, it's not so impossible. Nobody else but the two of us here, 'cause you're saying it's possible.
we can just watch the whole world disappear.
Till you're the only one I still know how to see. It's just you and me.
It'll be us and only us. And what came before won't count anymore.
We can try that. You and me. That's all that we needed to be.
And the rest of the world falls away.
And the rest of the world falls away. The world falls away.
The world falls away. And it's only us.
Okay, so as you watch this, what's going on in your heart? I know it's a big group, but I think I do want to invite maybe a couple of you to share if you want to share ways that made you feel, things that made you think of. He thought you were awesome.
He thought I was awesome. My brother.
Definitely. It's another good song from the musical. I thought like Adam was starting to sing, but like, here we go. Yeah, thoughts about that song. That's a big group. I know. Okay. Oh, I mean, maybe like some of the things as you watch that, maybe you're like just like touched by the beauty of it. Maybe you're just like, wow, like I want that, and that's not in my life right now. Like maybe that's something. Maybe that's not. Right? Did you notice like some things that he said though, like, if you really see me, if you like me for me and nothing else, right? That was not like a Catholic play, right? We're talking about what's in the human heart. He's speaking of this desire to be seen and finding that, right? Think of the time that maybe, when have you felt like really alone? Think about that. in your own life, when is the time that you felt like so alone? For me, it was when I graduated college and I moved to Dallas to start my first full-time job. And it was when my parents finished moving me in and they drove away. And here I am in this like quiet, like way too small apartment. And I just like cried. I just, my gosh, it was just like, I was like in the fetal position, like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna do this? Like, I'm so alone. So alone. What would happen if like you lost your phone for like a week? What would go through your heart? This like something you maybe like is maybe desperately like needs to be able to check this thing, right? Why is that? It's because there's something really good about it. Is that you're made for connection. You're made for love. And we feel this longing in our hearts. We feel this ache. But this was revealed in our bodies as well. This is revealed in our bodies. Like your body, John Paul II recognizes, has a spousal meaning. Think about it, like a man's body doesn't make sense on its own. A woman's body doesn't make sense on its own. Seen in light of each other, that makes sense, right? This doesn't mean, when I say your body is a spousal meaning, it doesn't mean that like every one of us here is called to be married one day, and that's how you fulfill your meaning in existence. What I mean is that your body reveals that you're a gift. And you're called to be a gift. And Adam and Eve in the garden, we can go to the next picture. Adam and Eve, in seeing each other, in seeing their bodies, and seeing the call to love inscribed on their very bodies, understood this. They understood that she's a gift, that he's a gift, and that I'm called to be a gift. If you look at this this painting, this is a very famous painting. It's Adam over here, God portrayed by this like fatherly figure, right? That's not actually what God looks like. It's a snapshot of him, but you can see like it's like a brain over in this section where God is, right? This is like the mind of God, okay? And there's lots of angels and cherubim around God, but one of those is not an angel. If you look right under God's left arm, that's Eve. In the mind of God, under the Father's arm, right? In this time of Adam being alone, this time of solitude, Eve is in the mind of God. Eve is not this afterthought. Eve is not, oh, I guess we did something wrong with the creating man, I guess let's throw something together, right? No. Eve is in the mind of God, the crown of creation, right? The most beautiful thing created, right? In the mind of God. And in seeing each other, because God is love, when Adam and Eve respond to the call to love in their bodies and seeing each other, they're seeing and learning more about God himself, because they're entering into that love. So let's stop there. I want to give good time for small groups. I would say I'll be around this whole small group time for you to come to me with one-on-one stuff. If you just want to talk, group leaders, I guess I'll be walking around. If you want to like bring me into your group, you're welcome to. I'm not gonna I'm only gonna come if asked, but just know that I'm available for that and happy to do that. So let's pray. Lord, we thank you that you have made us. You have made us male and female in your image. You have made us. You have put an ache into our hearts. An ache that not the perfect woman can fill or the perfect man can fill, but an ache that only you can fill. I thank you that in creating us male and female, you are ultimately calling and inviting us to the love that you have for us. and the Word made flesh in the person of Jesus. Give us peace and patience and enlighten our understanding. Blessed Mother, we ask that you would intercede for us in areas of need that we don't even realize. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Give Joey a